All right, let's go through the week. So quick with my personal performance. So the goal going into this week for me was 100% PDR, 85 average sleep score, and following my routine. How'd I do? Sleep score not great. I had a really good day. It's the only real positive, and then I had like two average days or two pretty not great days, and then one average day. Um, I started off the week really good, but I overtrained on one day, and that kind of caused me to spiral a little bit. I couldn't get good sleep, and then I kind of reverted back to not the best habits at night. It's not going to bed on time. So that's the review for sleep. I'm going to continue to focus on that. I did have a really good day one day, so mixed to negative results and need to do better there. As far as a PDR goal for the week, I was very happy with that. I was pretty happy with it. I was 15 positive decisions, 2 negative decisions. I forgot to list out the negative decisions, but um, the one negative was the Palo Alto trade that I talked a little bit about earlier. I kind of moved the stop. Um, Actually, they both were on that. It was the same trade. I moved the stop and then just kind of gave up on it, which is just kind of dumb. It's not something I normally do ever, but that. So I gave myself two on that, moving the stop up when that wasn't really the plan, and then I missed a really good trade on that. So because of being impatient, but otherwise, don't want to overvalue the negative. I made 15 positive decisions and stuck to my plan for the week or most of the week. Did very good in that regard. Um, let's see. So for stats, pretty strong week overall. SMCI had a lot to do with that. What I thought was interesting, the win percentage. I honestly wouldn't mind just deleting that widget if you could. I don't really care about it. There's a lot of like roll ups and different things in there, and spreads that get kind of caught up in that. But I don't. Anyway, it's irrelevant. Really, the profit factor and the net P&L is what's important to me. With that being said, though, as far as setups, performance by setups, it's kind of an interesting week, which gets into the observation. So, the catalyst trades, I don't remember the last time I was red in that category. It was largely due to Walmart. So I took a full loss on Walmart, and then the other catalyst trades I took this week were actually good, but not enough to make up for it. Um, the continuation trades kind of stole the show. I felt like this week. The technical is, I think there's an argument I could probably actually retag that as continuation. It was SMCI is why that is showing up as so much profit. That was a really big trade for me this week. It kind of overshadowed everything else. Um, I didn't include it as continuation because it's usually off a catalyst, but might be a little irrelevant. I probably should retag that as a continuation setup because it's really what it was. And I think the sentiment is a big enough catalyst, and it's been in play. So, anyways, those are just some thoughts on that. I can adjust that. The moral of the story is that continuation trades stole the show this week, which I don't remember if I mentioned that on a call with everyone in here. I know I had a conversation on the phone with another trader at the beginning of the week that just it seemed like this was going to be one of those weeks, which isn't too hard to figure out because um, sorry, my phone was going off. Not too hard to think through that, just given how much earnings we've had, right? Like there's been a lot of moves lately, so seeing continuation is logical, and that's really what we got. A lot of continuation setups this week, and some really nice technical setups. Minus SMCI category here. There's a couple other good ones this week. A lot more that I didn't trade, didn't really need to. And then roll ups paid really well this week as a product of the market pushing higher. They actually made up a large part of the P&L, which was pretty good to see. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much it for stats. Not a whole whole lot else to say there. Market big picture. We were pretty slow most of the week until Nvidia. So once Nvidia came out, it kind of catapulted the market higher. Obviously, the week close candle is not complete yet. A lot can happen the rest of today, but we hit 5100. It's a pretty impressive move, and we'll see where we go from here. Is the market due for some digestion? Yeah, probably, but we don't need to know exactly when that'll take place. Just let it play out. Specific observations. So we kind of already talked about this. Catalyst trades, selectivity prevailed here. I felt like there was some really good opportunities on day one. TDOC was a good one on day one. Rivian was a good one. There was a Capital One fade. There was a day, so Tuesday was full of like day one fades. That didn't really turn into a theme or a trend. Sorry, we had a theme on Tuesday of day two fades, and that didn't really turn into a trend like we were thinking it might. So, but yeah, so catalyst trades. There were some great ones this week, but selectivity was important. Like even today, Carvana and Square, just a little bit harder trades, but there were certainly some good ones. But continuation trades, in my opinion, ruled the week. The follow through in the market was really good. And then the semi and AI theme really in full force with Nvidia. I think there's been a little bit of a kind of a relaxed view on that. It kind of felt like we're starting to maybe get a little bit overdone on the sentiment with AI and semis and whatnot. With you had SMCI sell off 200 points in a day and yada yada, and then Nvidia's earnings are just huge blowout earnings, and it feels like that's coming. It's kind of revitalized in some ways is how I feel. So something we want to monitor in the next week. Can't ignore the strongest sector theme we've seen probably since the regional banks collapse of 22. So top ops and layups. Top op of the week was SMCI. I think it presented the most opportunity overall for trading it. The options were obviously very expensive and maybe not the easiest for people to manage risk for shares. Or just looking at the trade at face value, like it presented a lot of really good opportunity relative to like the movement and EV. So on Tuesday we had, I believe this was Tuesday, right? Doesn't really matter, but let's see. Yeah, Tuesday. Okay, so Tuesday we had the breakthrough, the pre-market lows. This was on day two following that kind of blow off top look on the prior Friday. And then it also offered to check back and rejected that and sold. I missed both of these trades. But they were great opportunities to review. And then we had the 700 level, key level reclaim and the right side of the V. I did catch that. That's the trade I made. That pretty much made my week, honestly. I sold into this initial move to cover my costs. That was my plan ahead of time. I had two options, and I chose to basically, I could either half size on the entry, and then try to hold through the right side of the V as long as possible, which was the plan, or go full size and as it got into profit, take off that half to kind of cover the other half to make it easier to hold longer, which is what I did, and that worked out perfectly. So I sold some into the initial pop, a little bit here, and then a couple on the way up on day one on this first day, and then I held maybe a 16th, 8th of a position into this day, or it was about a fourth of the position into this day. But we had Nvidia earnings, so at the close, I took off more and was holding like an 8th or 16th. It's a very small fraction. It was like 5 out of 40 shares or something. And then that I held all the way through. I sold some at 911, 950, and it's off the chart here. I didn't include the rest of the chart, but I got close to, it did hit 1,003, but I was all out by then. Um, and then what was kind of nice is so like with it making that big of a run, like this is a 40% move. Like I can't understate that or enough, right? Or over whatever I'm trying to say. I can't say that enough. That's 286 points from the right side of the V from 700. That's insane. And obviously, you have Nvidia earnings giving that extra push. Um, this is a really impressive trade. So the other thing I did as a roll up for this, I actually rolled up puts, which you heard me talk about earlier. So I was holding like one share left into today, but at the close yesterday, I put an 850 put on, just because 286 point move direct, Nvidia running, everything great. If we do pull back, it seemed like very low risk for a roll up. It was a free roll up. That actually paid really good. The options went from like 250 to 15. I sold at like 7 something. So that added to the trade. But I just felt like the opportunity, we're reviewing the top ops of the week. The opportunity on SMCI this week was really good. NVIDIA was also really good as well after earnings, which I should probably add that as top op in here. I'll edit this, but NVIDIA was a really good op. It just took longer. The opening drive yesterday and then continuation into today was super good. mRNA, I thought this was worthy to kind of call out as a top op, give it that status for the week just because of the variables. The catalyst was good. It wasn't like, insane, but the technical setup and the alignment on the higher time frame with this got really good. You had multiple tests. This is about as textbook of an intraday setup as you can possibly get. You had multiple tests at the pre-market highs, and then once it finally broke, it trended 6% direct on day one. So really good. One of the reasons this is so good, I feel, is that with this kind of a trade, you can use, you're able to use a tighter stop. Like we had a 95 stop. So you're risking $1 to make 6. I mean, that's incredible. And then TDoc. I felt TDoc was a really good op for continuation this week. We had a really defined key level at 16 that sold direct flush trying to closes on the lows. Yesterday, it gapped up, sold to the lows, held, and then defined this 15-16 level really good, and then sold off today. This one, just from the reason I missed this, it just moved too quick on the open. I wasn't, there was a lot to focus on. I was focused on Rivian, Nova, and NVIDIA. And the focus on Nova, which you already know, in my opinion, was one of the best continuation steps of the week, but the shares weren't available to short. So by the time I figured all that out and whatnot, this trade had already gone, pretty quick. So that's what we've got for the weekly review. Then there's some other layups and other really strong opportunities from this week in the list, which I posted the PDF in the chat. So if anyone has questions, let me know. We can talk through it. Otherwise, that is the review.